Marshall in the comments says, for any chance, this is Hearts' chance to win the league. Rangers and Celtic are absolutely honking. After the display at Dens Park today, mate, you couldn't really disagree with them, could you?
No. Listen, Celtic are leaving the door wide open to, Hearts or anyone else who gets that together this season, because Celtic are malfunctioning now on several levels. And this is a dismal display with Celtic today, and really poor. It's been coming though. It's been coming for a while. They've got away with a few results this season, last minute winners here and there. Their lack of firepower, their complete bluntness in the final third is coming back to bite them on a weekly basis now. And every game this season has been a struggle. This was a real struggle. Listen, I think first of all, Dundee were absolutely superb. I don't know where this performance came from. And this is a team that were absolutely leathered with Aberdeen recently. I just think it was a terrific performance. I mean, Stephen Prez done a job on Celtic. I thought they were defensively brilliant, a real threat in the counter, and it could have been more than two. Honestly, they could have been 2, 3, 4. Celtic had a few opportunities, nothing great. The VAR penalty kick decision wasn't a penalty. Really, really poor. And the alarm bells are going off all over Celtic right now. I mean, it's a club that is complete disharmony. The fans are not a protest today. A ridiculous one throwing tennis balls onto the pitch, delayed the game at the start. The anti-board chants and all that stuff, but the team on the pitch are not performing, and I also think now you're seeing. I think Brendan Rodgers is also plenty focused now as well. I think he got a wee bit of flack at the end as well. I think people are saying, okay, you have got a squad that's imbalanced and lacking quality, but they still should be doing better on this. So I think he's now in the fight. I think it's a bit of a watershed weekend. I think he's now coming into the blast zone as well around the board. And Celtic's problems are mounting up. They've got Sturm Graz on Thursday night, must-win game to continue their Europa League hopes. Then Tynecastle on Sunday. And at this point in time, you've been a bit of a bad quid on Celtic getting a result at Tynecastle next weekend. Which that would mean Hearts could go 8 points clear. In a few weeks' time, Hearts are playing the league when Celtic Rangers are playing the cup. So potentially, if games are all one left and centre at that point, could be talking 10, 11 points clear by November. Hearts. I certainly don't think they're a title race. They better waking up and realise they are.
Mick, hold on a wee second here. Were you not on here just a couple of days ago, not that long ago, saying, come back to me at Christmas time and I'll tell you if Hearts are in a title race? You now seem to have been more convinced.
It wasn't a couple of days ago, they were lying on the beach in Greece. No, but listen, results change opinion. So you don't think they're going to go to Dundee where they've not lost in 37 years and get cuffed. So, I mean, it's becoming more and more apparent that there is a threat. So it's more the case that Celtic need to wake up to this threat. Because they're not going to get it on their own way. Every single game has been a struggle for Celtic this season. There's no gimmies. That's not a situation that you can continue for. Eventually, they catch up with you, and it is catching up with them. I can't see where the solutions lie. I mean, Rodgers after the game is saying that he's got to find some kind of solutions to get the side playing, whether it's a change of formation or structure or whatever it is, because the personnel can't change, obviously.
And
but
that's
he's
the problem.
got problems all over the park.
But that is the problem. Anybody that looked at that squad, saw it was completely imbalanced at the end of the transfer window, going into the kind of course, the kind of running of the season, with a squad that just wasn't properly balanced. And we were talking, it's not through the benefit of hindsight we're saying this. We said it at the time.
No.
We said it at the time. They weren't properly tooled up in the attacking third of the pitch, the attacking areas. You're now looking at this. What's that? Is that the 6th game Celtic have failed to score in so far this season? When was the last time you heard a Celtic side, going on any run even remotely like that? The lack of creativity and firepower is the big problem, and that's why Hearts. I'm not saying they're pushing at an open door here, but what an opportunity they've got.
This is what I mean. I think they've got a chance, because Celtic are going to be basically just trying to mend and make do till January and then buy a bit of bother. But Hearts, what could happen when Tony Bloom might think, you know what, this is a big chance here. I'm going to tool up as well.
100%, 100%.
So the goalposts are moving on a weekly basis here, and Celtic, and like you say, this is not something that's happened overnight. I mean, Rodgers himself has been warning since the start of the summer. He needs. I mean, he's lost so much firepower at the team. When top goal scorer on this team is Benjamin Negrin, with 4 goals. I mean, we know who they've lost, and that firepower is badly missed. But quite what they do in the meantime to kind of get by, I don't know, because it doesn't look to be the solutions are in the squad at this point in time. I think Rodgers is now getting dragged into this as well, because he's having to look for ways to make this work, and at the moment he hasn't found them. And the spotlight is on. I mean, listen, he said, and listen, he's got to tread the fine line. Obviously, fans are angry at the board, and so is he, obviously. But he cut a line after the game. He said, he said, you can't chuck me a keys to a Honda Civic and ask it to be a Ferrari. And you're like, aye. But it's his job to make it race like a Ferrari. It's a quite. I mean, branding your team. Listen, I don't know what's wrong with a Honda Civic. I mean, I don't know, but that's pretty kind of damning assessment of where this team is right now. These are perilous times for Celtic in general. I mean, the fans had this meeting with the board last week that went completely pear-shaped.
Yeah,
the demonstrations are going to continue. I said, but the manager now is getting dragged into it. And then just to put another little kind of side thing, obviously there's now going to be a big giant Aussie-shaped hole in shadow lingering over Celtic right now as well. Because with the Rodgers contract obviously running down, you've now got the former boss and big hero Ange Postecoglou out of work as well, which is another complication, because there's going to be some sort of people who love to see Ange back as well. So Rodgers is facing he is facing his most difficult period as Celtic manager, and including his original period when he first came back, where he was getting pelters from some fans. This is the hardest job he's got in his 2 spells. He'll need every ounce of skill to get through this period and still be in decent shape come January. Yeah, and then comes January, did you get a big pile of money to go and fix it in January when you know that he's probably going away next summer? So Celtic are in a really perilous state right now.
Yeah, it's a really difficult position. I also look, Mick, and I think there was initial high hopes for Ian Atchell because of his pedigree, because of the level that he's played at previously in his career. But that was always
what was that? I don't think there was high hopes for him. I thought it was ridiculed as a kind of panic day late by, and then I think there was people were pleasantly surprised by a couple of his early appearances. But since then, it's kind of tailed off. I think back to what people might have feared it might be.
Yeah, I think purely on the fact that he used to cost a lot of money. He used to play for Man City. He played at Leicester. I think there was reason.
So did Sammy Lee. Wouldn't sign him, but
I think there was reason to believe that if Andy's at a decent age, if he could if he could get back up to anywhere near that level, he might still be a decent signing, even though it was done as an emergency issue after the closure of the transfer window. But now I think you're looking at him, and one, what happens if he gets injured? Because who does Celtic start with as a striker? But two, Ian Atchell's in there. He is fit, but he's not firing, and he looks a long way short of the quality that Celtic did have there. I'm thinking, when you had Kyogo and Giacomakis coming in and out of the team, when you had, I know that Adam Ida was hit and miss, but he was a good option to have. Celtic are just so short. It's actually quite incredible.
I don't think the problem is if Atchell was signed in end of July as a kind of backup striker, and they brought another main striker in, I think nobody would have complained about it. I think he's a natural finisher. I think he will score goals. It would be handy, but he's clearly not been playing that often in the last kind of 18 months or so, and it's finding it a bit like difficult times. You've got to say he's not getting much service either.
No, he's not.
I mean, you look at today. I mean, Yang's playing wide right for Celtic. And listen, you don't want to be harsh to the kid, but he's not up to scratch to play for Celtic. I mean, he's had 9 starts this season, and this is a guy who had his bags packed in the summer and was getting shipped out. He'd never really done enough to suggest that he's a worthy, anything more than a squad player. 9 starts this season already. I mean, today, I said, don't want to be overly harsh, but 45 minutes when he stunk the place out. Let's be honest, it was really, really poor. I don't think he did one single positive contribution in the first 45 minutes. Got hooked to half time. lucky to make it at half time. But then, Celtic are chucking on James Forrest and Johnny Kenny on a salvage mission. And you think, is this really where Celtic are right now?